Hi guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Oh boy, my day. So I thought it was going to be interesting. It was beautiful here. Haven't had a real beautiful 75-degree day yet. It's been chilly and manageable, but I'm like, I'm going to go tackle the backyard. I have a backyard. The problem with my backyard is I live in a community, and right behind my backyard is a community pool, which is a humongous, huge pine tree, which wonderful. I love trees, but they never upkeep the damn tree. They don't trim it. They don't do anything. Now, 2 years ago, during a really bad storm, a tree branch broke my fence. Now it is just deteriorated, and I have thousands and thousands upon thousands, it's probably like a ton, more than a megaton of pine needles that are not worthy of anything, weeds all over the place, and pine cones everywhere. My neighbors have it, but not as bad as me because the tree is literally right on top of my backyard. And there's like nothing I could do about my backyard because no matter what, all these pine needles keep falling and the sap from the tree keeps falling. It's just a nightmare. So I'm there, I'm like trying to snap all the weeds and take my weed whacker and try to make some attempts and make a big clump of pile. And by the time it doesn't even look like I did anything, to be honest. I got it looks like a leaf pile. I was so shaky and done. My body was just like, no, you got to go back inside now. No, this is too much. So I went back in, kind of pissed, but then my allergies were really bad before, sneezing my brains off. It was very windy here, so a lot of pollen was flying through the air. So I decided, there's a reason why I'm telling you all this, not to bore you, to go back into the law of one. Now I have to revamp the law of one to my insights, also the Keys of Enoch and the Wondrous Handbook. And with the law of one, I wanted to revamp the videos I've done prior, similarly, where we're not losing content. So this one topic I'm going to go over really took a lot of figuring out how to word everything so I'm not losing the meaning of what Ra was saying, but make it my words and not water it down. So I was doing that for the most part, resting and doing some other things like laundry. Yeah. It is what it is, right? Life is funny. Life is very funny. I don't get to do laundry that much because it costs a lot of money on my electric bill. Fun. So yeah, you can imagine that's a lot. So today, Spirit hit me earlier. And what was interesting about what I was thinking about today, I had a very crazy dream. Very, very crazy dream. And I'm not going to share it here because I want to get to the notes and not to bore anybody. But I did write this, and this was very much inspired by the law of one. And it comes up later in the chat, but I wasn't even writing these, rewriting the notes yet because I had to go back to the video and figure out things. But I wanted to read this to you because I think it's very important to the grand scheme of everything that's going on in the world. Quoting myself, Word of my day, catalyst. Everything in this third dimensional experience was arranged by you or myself prior to incarnation, because your soul needed growth and experience, but I'm adding that in. So all the negative things in one's life can be called catalysts. Those then determine how you respond to the lesson being given. When you stop responding in fear to all that triggers you and logically ask, what is this trying to teach me, is when you won the first battle. We live in duality. Good and evil both must and will exist. Creator established this matrix so it can experience itself through us. Use that catalyst to love, forgive, and release. Thanking that difficulty for granting one strength and perseverance. Everything occurs with reason for a reason. It's up to you to evolve consciously above the stimulated catalyst throwing you off balance. And simulated is the simulated place that we inhabit. Respond differently and your paradigm shifts. Stop allowing the outside world to dictate to you. That's very important for people just waking up. Allow your heart and inner wisdom to guide you. And I thought that was very necessary. I put that on Facebook. I thought that was very necessary to express, because things in New York are getting back to where there's no progress anymore. They're pushing this again. So, you know, again, I kind of knew this was going to take place. Everybody's like, why don't you go get a job down the block and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, if this is still something that's going to keep coming back, I can't wear this and I'm going to lose another job and it's not going to look pretty. So I'm just waiting for a sign from Creator to move me, show me a sign where, put somebody in my path that can get me a job that I could do online. Or I hope this takes off to some capacity, but I'm trying each and every day to do something and put my intent and my manifestation powers in there so I can succeed. I don't like this. I don't think anybody does. And be lucky that you don't live in New York, because some people are cheering that on like it's a good thing that you're not breathing oxygen. I mean, if they walked around with an oximeter on their finger to see how many brain cells they're losing and they're not doing any drugs. Before I begin the notes, just to put this out there, I am very excited. Woo! Thank you, Candy from High Vibes Up. She let me know that I can make a Truth Social account on my laptop. So guys, I am on Truth Social. If you're into that platform, I'm on a lot of platforms because I want to spread my message far and wide. And I don't really care what audience receives it. It's meant to get out there for everybody. So it's my channel's name, AllyKatzkreations211. Hit me up. I also had been putting some really good stuff on my Telegram channel for anybody that is on Telegram. Good stuff. Go check it out. So the episode that I did that I have to revamp is The Law of One, Book 2, 4th and 5th Densities, Death, Chakras, and Kundalini. And I kind of added some other things here and there, and it bounces back and forth, but it'll make sense. I promise. This was a really good episode. By how many views I saw people reviewing it. So hopefully I can get those views back. Makes me crazy. Drives me crazy. So this is something that I don't think I added on the first video. I don't recall. I chopped up when I went back to watch the video. I didn't watch it from the beginning. I just chopped it up just to see where I was and what section of the book I was reading. So this is the questioner talks about the sub-logos are sun that have a spectrum of color ranging from red to violet, the chakra colors, with white, the light emanating from it. So when I'm meditating and I'm throwing a bubble of protection around me, I first envision the white, silvery, golden plasma rays of white light going and surrounding my body, but then I'm also putting the rainbow colors in all of that. So as if any of you have ever tripped on any psychedelics, and I'm cautioning no one to try those things. I'm not condoning them. I'm just saying my artwork reflects a lot of that. Incorporating everything into your bubble and having it go around you. That's a good that's like me trying to give you a visualization of what they're talking about. He then questions if the light has all density and the info of 8 densities that go through a black hole. Now, a black hole started to come up again in the news. I don't see the black hole as what everybody thinks the black hole is, and I'm more on the lines with what Ra thinks the black hole is. And not because I've read what Ra has written, obviously I read it already, but I don't see the black hole as the end of life. Everything's sucking in, and I don't see that. So Ra responds saying that the light comes into the darkness that spawns chaos, and then it organizes itself, becoming reflecting. Then the dimensions come into existence. The blackness of a black hole on a metaphysical scale is a concentration of white light absorption that is going back to the one creator. This infinity happens until spiritual mass is ready to form again, a great central sun. So you have all these colors and forms, and you have this, you know, the spurt of light that comes out, just like a nova. It's the words are not coming to me right now, but I know what I'm talking about. Just get it. But that black hole is like a dimension, like an hourglass. You peel back into the creator, and then when everything is in spiritual mass, on that opposite side, you start a whole new logos and creation. Pretty nifty. So I don't think there's anything to be afraid of, just like we got portals all over the damn place. They're not telling us. And yes, today they didn't disclose much of anything. And listen, a lot of people are a little upset about that USA disclosure nonsense that they were like talking about UFOs. They're not going to disclose to you where all your tax money went and what NASA did with all the trillions of dollars that could have been helping people like me in my situation. For Black operations and spacecraft that we have and biodomes that have been created on other planets and interstellar travel has already been reached by humans. They just don't want to admit to that yet. They think it's going to scare people. They're trying to get people warmed up to the UFO thing. And I had to mention that because it it weighs on my mind heavily, only because we got to come to grips with how this reality and the simulation works. The illusion, as Ra, Quo, and others have said, this is an illusion. It's third density. It's an illusion. I don't know if you're going to see this on my phone, and I'm zooming in. So during the eclipse, we had like a storm, but like when it got very cloudy, and I saw something really bright, and the moon already passed us, like it moved already out of the sky, and it was like about 3 a.m, and I was just looking out the window, seeing if I could see anything. It's cloudy, and I have a really nice Nikon camera that I take pictures of the moon with. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but that's the blood moon. That's from my Nikon, and then me taking a picture of my Nikon. There's the eclipse. And mind you, I'm in the middle of the street looking crazy. And then later, I started seeing something dark in the sky. And when I had my my Nikon camera, it wouldn't focus on it. So I was in this room and I pointed my phone and I changed the settings so that I could get a clear shot of it because it's dark and it's hazy. So I fiddled around with a few things and I was able to capture. Can you guys see that? I can't get it any zoomed. But that is right out my window. And then yep. I'm very happy I was able to grab that because it happened so quickly. And then I had to swap for the camera to the phone. I'm like, well, shit, if I can't get it, and let me try to get it on video, but I got that still shot. I had it on night mode, and then I had it on slow exposure. I forgot exactly what I put it on, and it took it and it captured that. And then I tried to go back to video, and it was already out. It didn't focus. Anyway, they're here, and that better have been my star family. Seeing how I'm going crazy. Okay, next body of business after our black sun. The questioner then asked about energy bodies for an individual, questioning the first to the 8th density. So going from the first all the way to the 8th. If it were a straight line, would each activate chakra or active chakra if they all worked to its greatest intensity for each density? So like each density has its own supposed rays or hues of color. So first density is from your root, your red ray chakra. Second density is a combo of red and orange. Third density is now a combination of red, orange, and yellow, but you're now focused more on your orangey yellow color. That's third. At the end of third, you have your green ray already starting to activate. So it's like a lime green kind of color where it's overlapping. And there's orange still coming and seeping into there too. And that will be fourth density, where some people will already also have their blue ray starting to activate and interweave with the green. So what he's saying is, you know, well, everything just, if everything goes perfect and there's nothing stopping you, what goes on there? And Rob responds saying, it's rare that any chakra is fully activated. And that's kind of true. And we're all individualized, and our energy centers really do work all differently. So regardless of what you know about chakras, and I believe this to be with everything is generalized because everybody's experiences are different. Everybody's activation of their chakras are different. Everybody feels their chakras differently. Everybody sees their chakras differently and imagines them, you know, when you're in meditation and you're trying to activate and you're thinking of, everybody does that differently. So there's not one right or wrong way to describe them, but you can generalize. So fully activated, the real emphasis is upon the harmonies, also the balance of an individual. For us to graduate across the densities, the chakra centers have to function in such a way to communicate with intelligent infinity. To be in the light of purity, only a few can master such a feat. Focus on your centers and keep what you have in harmony and balance, and that is all that matters for us. And the people who are way ahead in understanding that cycle, good for you. Oh, again, there's no perfection here. That's all based on an individual pace. So whether you're even consciously aware of your chakras or not, a lot of people aren't. A lot of people don't meditate. But if you can imagine this being your violet indigo ray, throat is blue, heart's green, yellow, orange, red, and having them moving and activated, I think that's all you're going to need. So moving on, the questioner then asks a great question, more relevant to the here and the now. What's the span of time transition of Earth from third density to fourth density? And mind you, when this question was asked, it was in 1981. 40 some odd years ago. 41 years. Possibly 42, depending on the date of this. Ross says that that's difficult to answer. He claims uncharacteristic anomalies held us. Most of us started fourth density work, he claims, in third density. The climate of planetary consciousness is retarding the process. He says 100 to 700 years for a transition through at that point, which was 1981, it may not be accurate. And he said the Earth has been increasing its vibration 45 years from 1981. Which would make sense because a lot of, at least my age group, have parents that were born in early 40s. And it depends on your paradigm. My adoptive parents were born in 46. My biological family was 1960. But a lot of people have parents from 1940, the early 40s. And that was when the first wave, I feel, of star seeds really started coming in. And that is when the Earth's vibration started to rise, the Schumann resonance. But uncharacteristic anomalies. Well, we can mention a lot of what held us back from moving into fourth density a very long time ago. But a lot of us have already started and have been working on fourth density work a long time. We're just not cognizant of it. So moving on, the true vibratory color of third density is yellow. Fourth density is green, and the in-between is an overlay. Quote by Ra, third density being having the potential for complete self-awareness, end quote. The potential for the minimal activation of awareness. So third density is where we become self-aware. And that's, again, not from the womb, because we're not aware of ourselves until we look in a mirror and we can identify, oh, that's me, that's mom. Oh, but that's me. Because you're not seeing anything. You're just experiencing from the first person. You're looking out into the world. It's like you're in an RPG. If you play COD or, any like World of Warcraft or whatever the game you play, if you play anything. You're walking around in the world and you have your eyes and you're seeing everything, but you're not aware of what you look like. You have to be totally self-aware of who you are. And that's their density. That's what you're learning. So thus, we have the potential for the minimal activation of all energy centers. Fourth, fifth, and sixth densities are about refining the higher energy centers. So gravitating towards the true color octave of each ray in each density. So you want to hit a true octave of yellow in third density, but it doesn't necessarily mean if you don't achieve it, you're not being graduated. But that's like a goal. Seventh is a completion turning towards timelessness, or as Ross states, foreverness. So infinity and beyond, which I enjoy. Who doesn't like Buzz Lightyear? Going back to pi, which is a very formidable, long-ass thing to remember. I used to be able to remember it, but 3.14. To infinity and beyond. Yes, I'm animated. So I was talking about before the chakras having a rotation. And Ra keeps going into which the speed varies in range with the brilliance of color. When you work on your will and energy center, the more active and self-aware we become. So when you're focusing on your chakras and the motion and the speed that it, and again, everybody's going to be different because you're visualizing these centers differently. Just like an artist perceives its painting in one light and someone sees something completely different, and that's okay. So there's no, again, no right or wrong there. Being honest with a great attitude to achieve a spectrum of all colors and energy centers will ensure harvestability. So as long as you are consciously aware and working on them to some capacity in your life, you'll be okay. You'll graduate. But there's a lot more that goes into that graduation. Harvestability, whatever you want to call it. Moving on up to the fourth side. Fourth density is about compassion. And that's where you're going to learn. So third density is self-awareness, understanding yourself and others, recognizing you have other selves, not just your higher self. You have other things happening in the multiverse and the simulation that we are. I had Spirit give me a really good idea about describing what we're going through in a video game format. And because I played World of Warcraft for like 14 years, yes, I used the game. And I wish I still can, because it used to zip me out of this reality that I struggle with. And it's also good for my hand and eye coordination. I might do it. And then I had the Game of Thrones theory. Sorry, I keep going off, but it all ties in. So when fourth density physical pain becomes lessened, oh, I can't wait. And actually, I'm already starting to feel that, because I'm going to say this. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. I could not hold a pen right after I graduated with my bachelor's degree in art. So, you know, during the summer I worked, and then my father died. And then after that, I couldn't go on to my graduate studies. But I wouldn't be able to do it anyway, because I couldn't hold a paintbrush. I couldn't grasp a pen. I couldn't get out of bed. It was really bad. And no one knew what was wrong with me. And the days that I could get up and could muster the energy to get up, I was Mickey Mouse mitts, couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And it took some time to get that diagnosis, but I've had this disease a very long time, and I've come a very long way. Like today was a very challenging day, because my mind is like, all right, let's go outside for a little bit, do this. And, you know, it's a big undertaking to clear my backyard, to make it look presentable if I am to move. And it's a lot of work. So I'm like, let me just start, you know, and trim everything and take things down and, you know, make a pile. And then another day I'll come and put the pile in a bag. But as soon as I started to shake and I didn't feel my body can handle anymore, I went in. I didn't have to take any medication. I haven't been on my medication, anything. I took myself off of everything. I was on a lot of stuff. And through the years, I started like, I don't need this anymore. This is making me sick. I don't need this anymore. I'm losing my hair. I don't need this anymore. I don't feel great on this. And I just stopped taking everything. And I could function. Yeah, I have pain. It's manageable. Yeah, can I go out and do like 12 hours of laboring? No. I lasted about an hour out there. you have to learn when you're in pain to do things on your own time, and that it's okay. The mess is going to be there whether I cleaned it up or not, because there's still a complete utter mess to clean up. So everything has to be done on your time. There's no rush. And once I learned that and understood, I have to listen to where my body tells me no more. Go lay down or go rest. I do it. I don't fight myself anymore. I don't put myself on a podium anymore to say, well, I'm going to overcome this and I'm going to push through. Well, sometimes when you push through, that's when you hurt your body. I used to work in a gym, people just, have the gym mentality in January, I'm going to go get fit. And they're already grabbing the 10-pound weights, not realizing like you really, no one's judging you. Go in and use the 5. Do a lot of repetitions. But if you start at 10, you're hurting your body. And males, you can carry, obviously, you can go far higher, but still 15, depending on your strength and capacity. You can't just jump in. You're going to hurt your body. That's where you tear your ligaments and your tendons. And that's where you see all the knee issues and your ACL and meniscus and your ankles and all this kind of nonsense, because you're pushing yourself too hard. You got to start out gradually and build up. And that's with anything. So in 4th density, your pain, your physical pain lessens. I don't think it completely disappears. Again, I don't like to speculate with other people when they talk about the technology that will be out. That's here already anyway. It's been here. Another thing that they don't want to disclose because it's a part of the programs, med beds and stuff of that nature. Speculative if it's going to be in our time that it comes. Maybe it's in 4th density. I don't know. But we're going to have less of that anyway. So that's a good thing. But when I was talking about catalysts, when I read my Facebook quote that I made, the catalysts of mental and spiritual pain are then used. So the catalysts that we put into our lives, physical pain, Ron goes into cancer, talks about cancer a lot. A car accident. And I'm just talking about that pain, but there's other things that happen in your life that these negative things that we think are negative, they're catalysts to bring something out of us, the strength and perseverance. So what I'm going through right now with the loss of my job, I had to learn how to ask for help because it wasn't available to me. I lost my job. It was a catalyst for me to react. Now, how did I respond? Well, I didn't freak out. I didn't go do what I would have done years ago and offed myself because I couldn't handle it. Knowing I don't have any family, knowing I don't have too many friends, and I asked for help and I received what I can get. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do I get it on a regular basis? Do I get help all the time? No. But people in divine timing do what they can to help me. Again, nothing is perfect. But I had to learn how to ask for help, because I don't ask for help. I'm an independent woman. I do everything by myself. And I was forced to ask for help, which is out of my character. I'm usually the one helping people. So that's something that I needed to learn. That was a catalyst for me to learn. Now, that caused spiritual pain. and mental anguish, because when you get everything ripped away from you, are you going to persevere and you're going to be strong about it? Or are you going to be in a corner weak and not thinking of ways and how and what to do, next steps? Obviously living in the here and the now, but thinking and trying to come up with ways of how to better your life. That's how you persevere. So these catalysts come into our life, whether it be a divorce, whether it be whatever it is you can think of that was a negative experience. Treat it as, what is this teaching me? What is it trying to show me? Because it's going to better my soul's growth. And in fourth density, which many of us are already consciously on, we're going to get more mental and spiritual catalysts to help us bring the abilities out of us. So telecommunication, being able to go, okay, here, my best friend's all the way on the opposite side of the world, and I want to say hi. And I can send that thought out and they receive it. And then they send the thought back to me. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now, but I'll get in contact with you. Okay, thank you. Transportation. Beam me up, Scotty. I want to go home. Boop, done. Just a thought away. Just like our dead relatives. They're just a thought away. So just think of it that way. Catalysts are there to help us. They, in the moment, because we're in third density, we don't really comprehend all the time, or we don't really like cognize it to think, oh, I shouldn't react bad to this. How can I make the situation better? What am I learning from it? You know, a lot of people don't do that, and it takes time and it takes a lot of practice to catch yourself when you're just going through your everyday life and something happens. It's like, okay, but why did that happen? It takes a lot of training to like have that in your mind to say, okay, why did that happen? You don't think of that the first time something really bad happens to you. First you get into shock depending on the circumstance. So just be aware of that when we move up and ascend, that it'll be more mental and spiritual. So be kind on yourself. And fourth density is an interesting density. It can last up to you 90,000 of third density Earth years. So how we perceive time and the concept of time now in years. 90,000. It's a lot. That is a lot. But some of us cycled, I've cycled 5 Earth cycles already. 75,000 a piece, like complete full cycles. 75,000. And I don't know how long I lived in each of, because when things were just settling in, like, you lived a lot longer. Yeah. Fifth density, we may choose to learn as a social memory complex or as mind, body, spirit complexes, states Ra, and we may have the opportunity to graduate to sixth density with the social memory complex, either one. That's the route Ra took. He is a social memory complex with Quo, Hatam, Latui, and some others. But in fourth density, you start learning the complexes that you want to be with. And then you move into fifth. And that's where you start learning that, which I think fifth density is compassion. And it goes into the wisdom density, which is a free density. The lessons of compassion, which goes towards wisdom, have to do with the other selves. So you want to help your other selves. And I know that I have another self. After I did my quantum healing session. Yeah. So fourth density, the chemical composition of our bodies change. But our appearance, minor changes, but not much. A lot of people had a lot of questions about, obviously Ra knew this was an experiment, because usually in order to jump a density, your physical vehicle has to die and then you inhabit another form, where we're actually taking our bodies with us to fourth density. So this experiment was already known way back in 1981. We have fifth and sixth densities teachers that will help us and guide us in fourth density, where here we're isolated in third. And not to say we don't get help. We are able to channel information from Creator, from our dead relatives that are on the higher density, but they're not physically capable of putting in themselves into a form to be here to actually physically show you shit. I don't know anybody that can do that. And if you have, amazing, tell me. But most of us in third density, we don't have any teachers. We have our channeled and our higher selves to help us with our lessons here. But in fourth density, we will have teachers from the fifth and the sixth density helping us, showing us, teaching us all the lessons that we need in order to graduate to fifth and sixth density. And they will help hone in the skills that we need and show us and go, guide us and be with us. And many of those could be our dead relatives that are going to be coming back. There is a lot of paperwork on that, and it says it in a few books. So whether that happens or not, one can only imagine, but we all arranged for this experience. And we also arranged our other densities experience. We already placed catalysts there for us. We are going to merge with our soul group, our soul tribe, who haven't yet come in incarnation, but they might come and help us there. The sky's the limit to how this could go. So just understand that nothing is ever set in stone, because we have free will, but we also chose a lot of the stuff that happened to us. And that all these catalysts that do happen to us, we chose. And sometimes we chose a lot of stuff compounded in one lifetime that is a little too hard for us. I know that I chose the hardest life to live this incarnation, trying to fit in everything so I can graduate. Bad idea. So Ra gives a lot of heavy explanation on the colors and the rays. but I'm going to chop it down so that it's not so long-winded. So the red ray equals chemical body, the unconstructed material body. So this is before we are here. The orange ray, physical body, body of non-self-awareness, your body forming in the womb. You're not self-aware yet. When you're a baby and in the womb, you're not aware of yourself. Only again, when you're out and you have some time in the material world, will you understand and have self-awareness. The yellow ray equals physical body you experience catalyst in, so your body now. The green ray is our astral ectoplasmic body. So I would pose this as the end of your fourth density experience. You start literally making those shifts, but you still have a physical form. But you're also able to have your astral form. Blue ray, and I'm not going to say this correctly, so don't shoot me. Divanic body. It's like from the Vedics, from the Divanic, Divshanic body, and then the indigo is the etheric body, the Buddha body. I love that, the Buddha body. So that's what we have moving forward from the chakras and the rays. We have to look forward to that, and I'm excited. Now I go into death. The questioner asks, what body do we have after physical death? Ra responds, all body potentiation. The first body after death, Ra claims, is a form maker or indigo body. Eventually you merge to your etheric body. Once you gain understanding the totality of mind, body, and spirit. So when your physical vehicle, your essence, your energy floats up, the theoretical light that we see. And then we shoot up to the light and go up that ladder until we can no longer take the light. And then that's the density that we're going to be in. And this is after we pass, like our vehicle passes away. Once you are aware, you get like put into like a stasis point where you get your life review. You get to unwrap and unfold and kind of take a breather, because that was just like, whoa, what the hell? Okay, and that doesn't take much time, because time is only a construct here. Up there, it's a quantum snap. So we don't have to worry about, we go. We get our etheric body. We get our fun body. It could go anywhere. And then the questioner talks about the earthbound spirits. So the ghosts and the paranormal things that we see. So I have a lot of that going on, and I had a lot of that going on in my house. I am a beacon for the dead. A lot of mediums are. No matter what type of medium you are a beacon. Light workers, you become a beacon. And that's because they can see your light. But earthbound spirits, I'll I don't know how if I talked about my mother. So my adoptive mother, going on 5 years ago, passed away in 2017. And she didn't want to go because she really wanted me to be secure. She wanted me to get married, and that never happened. She wanted me to at least find somebody that could take care of me, knowing about my health and knowing that I can't do it all myself, that I'm going to need help, and having a reliable person in my life is something she always wanted. Hasn't happened yet, Mom. Sorry. It's true. And on her deathbed in the hospital, she did not want to go. And I had to hold her hand and talk to her in her ear and say, I'm going to be fine. You need to go into the light. You are not going to stay behind getting stuck here when you know I told you you can come to me at any time you would like to visit me. You know you can contact me. Your daughter is aware of the dead. You've seen them yourself. Stop your bullshit. I love you very much, but I need you to go into the light. I need you to go to your husband who is waiting for you. I need you to go to your parents. I need you to go to your aunts and uncles. I need you to go with your angels into the light, and don't stop and don't look back. You will see me again, and you'll see me in my physical body. You can come visit at any time. And then 45 minutes before her physical body died, I felt her go. I was like, thank you. Did not want her to get stuck. Where my uncle, he committed suicide before I was born. Again, 1981. He committed suicide. He was schizophrenic. When I went to the medium to find out what was going on about the downloads and who was sending them to me, because I was going over, no, 4 years ago, 3. It was a while ago. I was having a lot of downloads. I didn't understand what was happening to me with a lot of other things. And he was earthbound, his soul. And he finally made his way to me. He found my energy, and I was able to help, with the help of the medium, get him to cross over. There's a lot of those spirits. There's nothing to be afraid of. They need if they're knocking on the walls and they're knocking things over, that isn't necessarily a haunting. That might be somebody reaching out to get your attention for help. Okay? It's when they're throwing shit at you bad where that becomes a problem. But not everything is evil. They're dead. It's like the movie Ghost. Okay? You obviously, some people can see them, some people can't. But if you're not seeing them and they want your attention, they're going to go to extremes to get that attention. Acknowledge it, pray for it, forgive it, ask the angels to take it into heaven or into the 6th density, whatever, 7th density. An entity before incarnation will be in a holding space with the ray of color the entity needs to come into the womb with. Coming into carnate, your etheric body or form maker is activated. Ross states, quote, "It is as though the infant contains the universe," end quote. That's profound. I think that's a very profound statement that Ra made. In death, you return to the indigo state where one realizes death and the transition. and then the loop that happens again. And again, that loop will look different in each density. That makes sense. Each density has a different form of how we come here. Doesn't go over it there, but I have a feeling that if I want to have a kid, I don't have to go through that process. And lastly on the list, the Kundalini Awakening. Ra recalls the Kundalini, that term which how many of us describe it as a coiled serpent metaphor. The serpent going up the back through your chakras until it hits here and those who've had their awakening Kundalini experience, you know that feeling. We harness two types of energy, as in the true color octave, to move the energies upward through each center. So you're starting at your root and you're starting at the octave. So the true color of the chakra systems. Not all the hues and tones in between. It's the pure color that you're obtaining when you're trying to get this experience to happen. And you go through each one. This can be harnessed through your self pole, which is your root. And within us, we need to experience, observe, balance, accept, and experience and see and be seated. The creator lies within, Ra states. In the North Pole, your crown, we are potentially a god. A lowercase God. Done through meditation and contemplation of the self, also of the creator. So when you're meditating, you're trying to connect directly to source. When these energies meet is where that serpent will have achieved its height. The energy that becomes uncoiled, universal love, the harvestability increases. So when you're able to unravel all of these energies within you to get here, to have that experience, and you unraveled it all, you have ultimately balanced your chakra system. And even if you had one, you can have multiple Kundalini experiences, because each day, each moment you breathe, your chakras are always balancing itself out. They're not always in attunement, because that's the way things roll here. Every minute to every day, in my opinion, your energy shifts. Your chakra systems shift, because either you're not projecting or you're projecting. Either you feel all love and balance, but you don't always feel loved and balanced all the time. And it's great that you do, but we still are human. We are hormonal. We have emotions. We're having a human experience. We're not in our etherical body yet. We're not in a higher form density yet, where we have control over a lot of things. We don't control the secretions in our body. I mean, obviously our body does that. Our brains help us. We have a lot of things, but I can't just like, okay, brain, I want you to output 25 more percentage points in my intellect. That just doesn't happen. I can't command my brain to think any more than it does. I can't ask my heart to tick at a different pace. I have to slow down my breathing and pace myself to get down my heart rate. The same thing with breathing. You have to be consciously aware of things, but I can't ask my thyroid to secrete more hormone, it naturally already instinctually does what it needs to do. And you can focus on it and maybe heal it that way. But if you were to do that with every single aspect of your body, you wouldn't get a life done with. You would be stuck all day thinking about your body systems and not living your life. So just put it that way. In a nutshell, that was really what I was speaking about in this episode. I really love the Law of One. I base a lot of things off the Law of One, and I try to compare it with other books. The Awaspe book I read, the Keys of Enoch, and the Urantia book. And I'm going to say this, a lot of people still comment on this. I don't care who channeled what material. Why? Ra, for all we know, could be of a negative polarity, giving us some fibs. Okay? Supposedly evil things were channeled to get the Urantia book. Ra kind of makes a negative statement on that as well. But then why, when you read the Keys of Enoch, the keys, not the book, the keys, there's a lot of similarities in language there. The negative entities, in my opinion, regardless of intention, okay, they have to tell you the truth to some form of or capacity. I'm currently reading Manly P. Hall. A lot of people have problems with that because of what he was. I don't care what he was or who or what association he was associated with. Secret society, not secret society. They have to disclose the truth to you, but it's up to you to pluck the truth out of it. If we call them the illuminated ones, and they study Pythagoras and Plato and Aristotle and Ptolemy and all the ancients, because they understood the Hermetic or the occult-esque, we call them those words, but are they negative? Or did they actually understand what those people were able to do with their consciousness and their abilities, and honed in on what those are, and then they disclose it in their material to their secret societies, but they kept it from us? So maybe what they're talking about actually has merit to it if you invert the evil out of it and turn it into good. Because again, we're in third density, it's duality. You have to have good and you have to have evil, because the evil is the catalysts. And sometimes the bad people need the good people because they need to see the light and they need to understand what that looks like. So it's a give and take, it's a yin and yang, and you have to have both. So if we deny ourselves reading books like that, or there's so many hermetic and other types of books that people are like, well, that goes against everything, and and that's occulty, and that's a satanic thing. Well, maybe there is truth in some of what they're writing. It doesn't make you an evil person, does it? Oh, but now you're judging. See? Don't judge. When you drop your ego and out of pure curiosity, you read stuff, like I like to challenge people. I did a reading on Kant, and what a really amazing person commented back, and I'm just like, I love your comment, and I agree. But I'm reading a lot of what I'm reading because a lot of people are stuck. They're not discerning. When I took metaphysics, I only read one book in that class, and it was Rene Descartes. And it was like the total, because everything that he was teaching in this one particular book, I have to see if I can find it. Everything was opposite. And it's all about perception, right? Some people's light bulbs go off with certain content. And I'm not here to judge which content that I read that your light bulb goes off. I'm happy that it does. And that's the goal of what I'm doing, is allowing you to hear the books and discern for yourself what resonates with you. I'm not here to judge which book you waken up to. And then you'll do your own research and you'll go find those same similar books. And then maybe you'll watch a video and someone was like, well, he was a pessimist and he was an existentialist. Maybe his metaphysics wasn't really, and maybe this person, Hegel, sparks your privy. And then you go on a Hegel quest. Why not? I mean, Arthur Schopenhauer isn't the most liked philosopher, but I adore him because some of it, not all of his work, some of his work I resonate with as much as I do Friedrich Nietzsche and Spinoza. Oh my God, there's like 1,000 of them. I'm like, but you have to have the debate opened and you have to have the material there for people to hear. And even though a lot of people who are watching me right now might be very well educated in metaphysics and understand the components of it all, and kudos to you, there are a lot of people now just starting in their journey. And as it is, some of the things that I read are not easy to comprehend. So I want this to be a platform for everybody. And I would love for those who are very well versed, more so than myself, to comment and to teach. This is not just about me. This is, I'm going to steal Jason's line. It's we, not me. It's all of us. It is. It's all of us. And again, I'm here. If you would like to come on with me, we don't have to go live. I can videotape. We can have an open conversation. I can have a round table if we have people, just to open up open dialogue. I would love to do that. If anybody's interested, I am here to do that. So it's very important that I get as much of these readings done, and I'm trying to focus on more of the books. So if I do happen to not be able to pay my bills at the end of this month, at least if my internet drops out until I figure out life, there's plenty of videos and plenty of content to go by. And at least with the Arantia and with the Wasp Bay, I have enough there to cover about a month if you listen every day. So I don't want to take any more ranting time. It just felt like that needed to come out. Sending each and every one of you love and light. Have a great night and a great day wherever you are. Be loved, be kind, forgive, release. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.